Turns out I'm not bisexual, I'm Lebanese.
You're Puerto Rican? Lebanese. I feel that.
I'm a newly burgeoning lesbian. I went most of my life thinking I was bisexual, and in the past several months, say like several months to a year, I finally realized I'm not bisexual. I only want women. I thought I was bisexual because I enjoyed looking at pretty men, and I wanted men to have crushes on me. I wanted their attention, and I thought the male physique looked really good. I was an idiot kid that growing up, I believed every piece of media that was marketed my way about young men and young women and what they should do and like about each other. And so I idolized that imagery. My little 8-year-old mind was just taking it in, and I wanted the little Cinderella story. I wanted the 10 things I hate about you. Like, I always wanted the tension between a guy liking a girl and a girl liking a guy. All these years I had crushes on boys, but boys never liked me back. The fact that boys never liked me, plus media drive that down to intensely seeking validation from men because they don't like me, and then intensely believing in media because I thought media was real life, you get someone who thinks they're bisexual. I was like going through the bi cycle, and I'd be like, wait, maybe I'm straight, maybe I'm gay. Well, eventually one day I completely dropped the straight. I was like, you know what, Asia? We know this, and we know this for sure. You like ass, you like titties, and that's never gonna change. Hands down. So the only options are either to be bisexual or lesbian. I'm a very open-minded person. I'm a very loving person. I didn't want to think of myself as cutting off a part of humanity or part of the world from my potential partnership. I wanted to like boys, and I thought I did. And it is definitely weird trying to reconcile, like, what exactly were those feelings I was having for boys back then? You know what I mean? One thing I used to say when I identified as bisexual, I was like, with men, it's like stressful in this desperate search to find a guy who checks all the marks on my list, and no one ever checks them all. I would just like any guy who's remotely cute, any guy who remotely seemed like they might like me. I immediately was obsessed with them. With girls, I wasn't looking, I wasn't trying. It's more like they attacked me. Something on their aura kept catching my eye and pulling me towards them. I was like, there's nothing in particular they're doing, saying, or being that should make me want them this much, but like I was so drawn to them, and it was mysterious, and it was just like, so I acknowledged that difference, and I still thought that was bisexuality. Because I'm like, well, if I have to be a lesbian, you have to have no interest in men in any way. Like, I shouldn't think men are pretty. I thought girls were supposed to feel uncomfortable with sexual relations with a man, and that's still liking a man. Like, also, I've had an aversion towards male genitalia, even when I was bisexual. Why does it feel so tainted and wrong and like just not interesting to me? Don't get me wrong, I definitely thought female genitalia looked kind of crazy too at some point, but over time I got accustomed to it, and it felt like familiarity. You don't like male genitalia, it feels wrong and violating to you. Every time you kiss a boy, it's really gross and disturbing. And every time you kiss a girl, it's usually not bad. You tend to like boys who are really, really pretty and feminine and have this perfect balance of femininity and masculinity. The way men think is so toxic to me. Like, how can I ever really get a real emotional connection with a man and be treated correct? Also, I just felt stressed. I felt so stressed about liking boys, about determining if I liked a guy. Oh my God, I would try to determine in my head what made him good, what made him great, and I would be so stressed. In our society, if a woman shows excitement towards a man, it's automatically assumed she has a crush on him. So that happened to me in my youth, where I would be really excited about certain guy friends, because I did value guy friendship, a good, healthy guy friendship. I loved that. And I'd be so hyped and so comfortable that people would be like, oh, you like them like that. And I'd always be like, no. But then eventually I was like, oh, maybe I do. And maybe that's that thing I'm doing where I'm like, I don't realize I like them. About 7th grade down, that's when most of my genuine interest in men was, because I thought it was nice how they got to live life without the constraints that girls had to live with due to like stereotypes and like misogyny. The idea of a man in my head, always better. And I was just like, when is the idea in my head gonna match reality? Shit just wasn't making sense. Crazy now to be like, I'm a lesbian, but I spent my teen years constantly thinking about boys around the clock. Our society taught us that if we're drawn to the opposite sex at all, it always has to be romantic and sexual. It's not. Stepping into my lesbianism, basically I've submerged myself in as much lesbian internet content I can get to feel valid and to feel not alone, because I did feel very alone and I felt a loss of girlhood by admitting that I'm lesbian. I also felt a loss of safety, like social safety, from admitting I'm lesbian. Being the identity I am, it can feel like I'm invisible. When I think about myself and I don't think about the world, I love being lesbian. It feels so right. It feels like who I am. It feels so freeing. There's nothing wrong with it. So that's what I have to keep in mind to keep me grounded, is like block out the noise and pretend if it was just your world, do you feel normal to you? And I'm like, yeah, to me, I feel normal. All that shit I was seeing on TV and aspiring to was actually just toxic BS that they were making up for entertainment purposes. It was nothing I should have ever been trying to live my life by or think was real or normal. Love is love. Like, I know it's so fucking corny, but I get it now.